Hey, I wanted to talk about something that I didn't know I was going to be talking about, and that's Cameron dissing Kanye. So I thought maybe we'd do a video getting into what this recent diss was, and actually the long history of Cam dissing Kanye, and how kind of unoriginal it is, and actually how it plays into what Cam says about Kanye plays into everything Kanye's been saying in 2018, specifically regarding monolithic thoughts, and just kind of how backwards Cam's thinking is a little bit, or how reductive it is. So this is just the initial article that set it off. Just a quick reminder of Cameron. You may remember him from the song Down and Out that Kanye produced. He's on Gone with Kanye. Champions, Christmas in Harlem. They worked together on those songs, or Kanye was involved in those songs in some way. I mean, Gone and Christmas in Harlem, obviously being on Kanye Late Registration and Good Friday release. But Cam actually gets referenced a lot by Kanye, especially as, like, you know, Killer Cam used to wear pink color a lot. And Kanye, as much as he loves fashion, was a fan of that, and just the ties with Rockefeller, Def Jam, and everything. But, you know, there was some fallout in Def Jam between Dame Dash and Jay-Z, and Kanye picked Jay-Z's side, and Cam went with Dame. And it's been kind of tensions between them ever since. Like, Cam and Jay still don't get along. And Dame and Kanye have been pretty all right, but it's Dame and Kanye that always causes Cam to step in and be like, fuck Kanye. So this is the song. The group, the Diplomats got back together, and they just released an album called Diplomatic Ties. And this is the intro to that, as I have something in my eye. So down here, you know, you get the crew coming in: Jim Jones, Jules Santana. Oh, great, they got Drake. Trav, and then Cameron comes in, says, Dame Dash, my man, he's shooting, then I'm bucking with him. You know, he's gonna ride with Dame no matter what. They shooting at us, shit, I'm ducking with them. Which, if you're trying to position yourself as like a fucking badass, I don't know if ducking is the right way I'd classify myself. I mean, this is all fiction anyway. So you can just be like, I'm shooting with them, and if they shooting at us, I'm killing first, or something like that. But instead it's like, I'm ducking, man. Like, how fucking badass am I? But I had to be firm and tell him that Kanye only fuck with you when no one else is fucking with him. That, you know, Kanye only comes around to Dame when everybody's giving Kanye a hard time. That's a fit act. He told me he was bipolar. Just real fast. Kanye only fuck with you when no one else is fucking with him. Do you remember the movie Honored Up that came out in February of this year? I don't think that you probably do, because the movie didn't get a lot of, I don't know, advertising. It didn't have a long time in theaters. But Dame, you know, directed this movie. It was kind of a big deal for him to be a director on a film. You look at his IMDb credits, and he's been involved as a producer in a lot of stuff. But as a director, you know, he's had some projects, but, you know, video documentary, TV miniseries, documentary, short, Blood on the Streets, State Property, I'm sure that wasn't a feature. Death of a Dynasty, Paper Soldiers, that's 2002, 2003. Honor Up is the first time he's directed a feature, maybe ever, especially at this level, that's getting theatrical releases and has a budget and everything. Yeah, so we have that as I'm delaying as this loads. And, you know, look who produced this. Dame, Carrie Lee, Raquel Horn, and Kanye West. I don't see Cameron's fucking name there. You know, a movie's a multi-year project, and Kanye's executive producing this shit, helping with the look. Kanye threw a watching party for this, designed merch for it, and this came out in February of 2018. So it would have been that Kanye's like helping Dame out in this post-Pablo time, post-hospitalization, working with Dame in 2017 into 2018. Like, I don't know. It's not that nobody was fucking with Kanye at that point. He had some heat for what he said about Jay, but Kanye was still like in the good graces of the public. He had an acclaimed album. He had a tour that everybody loved. He said some shit about Donald Trump, but people were like, well, let's wait and see more and see if he really meant that. And that was still 2016 before we all realized Trump was even worse than I think we could have imagined. But Honored Up, you know, Kanye was involved with that. And here Cam's saying that, like, Kanye only fuck with you when no one else is fucking with him. It seems hyperbolic or maybe a little untrue, though who knows? You know, maybe Cam's in a better position. He's definitely in a better position than me to comment on the relationship between Kanye and Dame. But at least from an outside perspective, it seemed like Kanye was helping out in a time when, I don't know, he was just kind of doing his own thing away from everybody. It's not like after everything with Trump, Kanye's like, Dame, can I produce a movie for you? I really need to get back into the public eye. I mean, Kanye didn't come out and... Anyway. So then we have Cam going into these next lines. He told me he was bipolar. What? I looked and said, bipolar? Come on now. Don't be ridiculous. And this gets a classic thing. It's been talked about a lot that within the male community, of the black community, there's a serious problem with the conversation of mental health. It's something that Charlemagne the God's talked about. It's something that a lot of basketball players, athletes have talked about. It's something that other rappers and hip-hop artists have talked about. Something that regular people are talking about every day. That mental health is a hard thing to discuss, but it's especially something that's looked down upon as weak or not something that you bring up in the black community. But there have been major strides in lifting the stigma off of mental health. And Kanye and Charlemagne wanting to have that conversation about it just last month at the New York Times thing would have been a huge step forward for that. But we see Cam coming in with that, like, old school idea of anybody bringing up mental health, and he's just making it seem like it's this absurd thing. Like, bipolar? Nah, get the fuck out of here with that. Don't be ridiculous. He just downplays the shit out of it, which, I don't know, to me seems just regressive. And then he goes, he wasn't in the mix with us. What do you mean by that, Cam? Bricks from Hamilton Terrace, he didn't take the risk with us. Well, no. I mean, you're talking Hamilton Terrace. You're talking New York. Like, Kanye's from Chicago, you know? He wouldn't have been in Hamilton Terrace with you doing anything with bricks. But I get what I'm being a little too specific there. He's saying that Kanye wasn't in the drug game. He didn't come up how we came up. You know, probably his mother was a professor. He was into clothes and got to design video games as a kid, was winning awards. While, like, you know, boil a coffee pot, he ain't opened the barbershop where we sold hydro at, where we pissed off the cops, the ones in the Taurus. He a tourist. Uncle Tom knowing nothing about this chorus. And then the chorus is all about, like, you know, that old school collapse of rap and gangsterness. That to be a gangster is to be a rapper is to be a gangster. And that's the whole thing that Kanye killed with his career, is that you don't have to be a gangster to be a rapper. That you can be an artist and be a rapper. You can be vulnerable and be a rapper. You can sing and be a rapper. That being a rapper doesn't even mean that you just have to be a rapper. You can be a musician. I just watched a comedy special on Netflix, the Hilarity for Charity, Alzheimer's, Seth Rogen special. Post Malone's the musical guest that's supposed to go up there and perform. Rapper Post Malone. And he just fucking sang. You don't have that without Kanye. And the fact that he's, like, mocking Kanye for not being there, I just saw a mosquito. That he's not being there with us, and he has Drake in the intro of the song. Like, come the fuck on, what's Drake done? Like, Wheelchair Jimmy's in there, and you're like having the audacity to be like, Kanye wasn't in the mix. No, but Kanye still, like, has done so much for music and has shown that you don't have to be this one-dimensional, monolithic thought kind of thing. And this is getting into that monolithic thought. You aren't like me. You don't have the same background as me. You didn't do the same things as me. Then you don't deserve to be in this community. Never mind the music that Kanye's made. Never mind the popularity of it. Never mind his contributions to the art world and to the public and anything like that. It's you didn't sell drugs. You're not a rapper. So fucking dumb. Like, yo, of course there's a cool element to all the gangster rapper kind of stuff, and there is a legitimate history there, and there's absolutely value in having those stories be told in the way that only hip-hop allowed for. But that doesn't mean that's all hip-hop is or should be or can be. And that squashing anybody that's doing anything else or mocking them for it at this point, maybe if it was like 2006 and you're dropping this song, but like, damn, we're in 2018 and you have Drake on the track. Like, shut the fuck up a little bit, Cam, at least about that. Oh God, Cam's gonna punch me in the face so hard. So honor up. But that's not the first diss. They actually had a toast freestyle that came out, Jim Jones and Cameron, back in, what, like 2010, 2011? Where's the song? Nobody even cared enough about this fucking song to put the written by, the produced by, the album by, the release dates, music video. So if you want some genius IQ points, go ahead and go on here and be the one that does this. Jesus. But you have Cam. God, Cam's gonna punch me. Like, just outright punch me. I fuck with hoes. No, is that? Yeah, okay. So he gets into this verse. A little more context. Jay-Z and Dame just had this huge falling out over Rockefeller and Def Jam and all of that. And people were taking sides. It was ugly. And this song was actually released over top of the Runaway beat. So My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy had come out, had been this major hit, and they're like, you know what? Let's show Kanye what's up by jacking his amazing beat and rapping over it and showing him how it's done. So they do their thing. What's funny, and this annotation might be my favorite genius annotation of all time, people might hear this and they might take it the wrong way. That's what people do. Like, I give a fuck, I'm Jim Jones. Jim Jones is also just going to knock me out. They think we start in trouble like usual, but we just view in our opinion. What's it mean to view your opinion? Airing your opinion? Maybe the genius annotation isn't correct and what he said makes more sense. Or maybe I'm dumb and I just don't get the depth of we just viewing our opinion. Venting our opinion? Maybe. Anyway, some people might get offended. I ain't trying to ruffle nobody feathers. But you ain't gonna do shit when I talk shit, which it could be a cool line. Like, you're not gonna do shit because I'm Jim Jones, but and you know, like, I'll fuck with you. I'll fuck you up. Like, don't step to me. Could also just be that, people might hear this and they might take it the wrong way. That's what people do. And the genius annotation, which you probably read at this point, as I've talked way too much. I mean, they call Kanye, is there some alternative reading they suggest? No, there's not. There's not. But here, so he goes in, I fuck with hoes that do check scams, which it's a pretty great line. And pop e-pills, yeah, call them X-Clan. So I tell them vainglorious is actually the word. Anyway, L's Neo, the One, Cam's Morpheus, Dipset, yeah, you know who's scorching this. All of these kids should open a damn orphanage. What up, jet lag? What up, Sin City? Killers first, Killa first, been pretty, and Kanye, you a sucker. Disdame, so my attitude is fuck you. Suckin' Jigga, how you gonna live with that? Ooh. Took your beat, now come get it back. Like, what a line. Like, we're rapping over Runaway. Like, ha, showed you. Like, come get it back. Eh. You can have this one, Cam. Like, good job with it. Like, Runaway's Runaway. Like, Kanye doesn't need to come get anything. Fuck what mama say. Whip color is marmalade. That's actually kind of funny. I hadn't read that far up until this point, but I don't know. I'm just realizing that this came out in 2011. So, one, he's saying like "fuck what mama say," as in, you know, fuck what Donda said in a way. Which, you know, with Donda having passed, that's kind of a serious, way more serious than like, you're a sucker and you sucked off Jigga. Now come get your beat back. But like, fuck what your dead mom said. Getting a little harder. I don't like that line, but I respect that in terms of like a beef and things that you're gonna be saying in a like a rap to insult people and make them mad. I respect that more than the previous shit. Whip color is marmalade. Marmalade. Marmaduke. Marmalade. Which is, you know, referring back to mayonnaise colored Benz, I push miracle whips. And then fuck what mama said is, whatchamacallit, the Adam Sandler movie we always talk about in the podcast, Waterboy. And the professor being like, you know, mama said alligators are ordinary because they have a toothache. And the professor's like, well, mama's wrong again. Which I can't do the good professor now, but, you know, he mocks mama over and over again until Adam Sandler's like, you're wrong, Colonel Sanders. And then tackles the guy, which should have just, you know, been assault and he got sent to jail for a little bit in the end of the movie. But that'd be a sad movie. So that's actually the first dramatic line, an interesting line I've seen in the diss from Cam. Modern day Wilt Chamberlain, Hose Andal. Yeah, Malibu boo, but it's Dom today. Shout to Weezo coming home, Tone John and Dre A. And then he kind of loses the plot. Anyway, he did that in 2010, 2011, which is kind of crazy because people talk about this beef having ended. Huh, weird. Okay, so when you read about like historical beefs between whatchamacallit, these guys, Cameron and Kanye, people talk about how they squashed their beef that they had that we first heard on Toast because we got Christmas in Harlem. But Christmas in Harlem was a Good Friday release. When did it come out then? Christmas in Harlem. Which would have come out before Toast, because Toast wouldn't have come out till after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Oh, so okay. December 17th, 2010. So it would have been the last of the Good Friday releases, with Chain Heavy coming out November 12th. So the album would have dropped November 22nd. If only... I mocked it earlier, but now I'm actually really disappointed nobody has the release date info for Toast. So I'm hoping, if my understanding of the situation is true, that this song would have come out sometime between November 22nd and December 17th. And then Kanye would have reached out to them, they would have talked, and they would have made Christmas in Harlem that featured Jim Jones and Cam. Jim Jones is right there. Sci-Hi, Pusha, Big Sean, and then Cameron. So he loves shouting people out at the end. That's good. So it seemed like they squashed the beef a little bit. But then, when did this song come out? November 10th, 2017, he releases Coleslaw, right? Okay. And this is in response to Kanye going up on stage at the end of 2016 and what he said about Jay-Z. 444 had come out already, and Cam, doesn't like Jay. And he says, Kanye got on stage, what do you do? Played Jay-Z out, okay? What do you do next? Check into the crazy house. Okay. Simplistic view of it, but okay. Fuck that. You made a living talking greasy. Greasy and sleazy combination there. Besides that, man, you Yeezy with the Yeezys. Be yourself. You ain't got to go AWOL. So much in line with what Cam's saying here with like bipolar. Knock that off. Don't be ridiculous. He's taking the idea of Kanye's mental health as something that's not serious. That if Kanye checked himself into the crazy house, it must mean that Kanye was trying to damage control, rather than maybe he actually needed some help, whether it was due to sleep deprivation, whether it was due to bipolarism. That consideration isn't being had by Cam. Cam's just viewing it as like, man, you've always talked shit. And you got the Yeezys, like, you don't need Jay's money or Jay's support or anything from Jay. So, like, you don't have to go run off and hide and act like you didn't mean what you said. Like, fuck that, Ye. I've been this way since Ye Tall. If you regret it, then dead. But if you said it, you said it. You mean what you said. Can't tell me forgive and forget. So he's kind of viewing everything that Kanye did as a ploy to recoup image, to make amends and be like, oh no, I went crazy. Are we cool, Jay? We're cool. Rather than just being like, oh, maybe you were having issues and this was a symptom of issues. I'm so glad that you got help. I do like, though, that he at least included, if you regret it, then dead. Like, okay, if you regret it, that's fine. Ignore everything that I'm saying. And, but he doesn't think that Kanye could have said it, but also been having things that needed help. It's just Kanye could have said it, and anything other than that, with mental health is just an excuse. So, I don't know. I think Kanye can get mental health help, whether that's sleep deprivation or help with bipolarism, and still not regret what he said, but also want to have a stronger relationship with Jay-Z moving forward. I think with Cam's affection for Dame, if he and Dame got in a fight, he would want to, I don't know, make amends with Dame in some way, rather than just being like, I said it. Like, I'm not going to forgive or forget, nothing like that. Again, it's the old school tough guyness about it, and just that old school perspective that's so different and completely antithetical to everything that Kanye kind of represents and preaches and talks about. It's really weird how these two just shouldn't get along, because they seem to just have very different points of view on things. And you can see what he says here, like, I'm different. I'm from a different type of hunger. Ask OG Juan how I was when I was younger. Again, building himself up in his ruthlessness, his tenacity, his don't fuck with me-ness, which Kanye just has never, ever been about. More shout-outs. Gotta have the shout-outs. I know they wouldn't tell, but peep the details. It's me. Weed and females. 2 to be exact. I met him doing some retail. Chanel bags. Both had on the Adidas with the seashells. Asked what they do. Boo said real estate and weed sales. It's a weird ending. What a weird ending. But, again, just really critical of Kanye in very different ways. I don't even think I talked about the Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom know nothing about this chorus. Yeah, because he's not. Anyway. There's a cool article that kind of gets into Kanye West explains siding with Jay-Z over Dame Dash. He says, the problem was with Dame, his truth was more accurate and more closer to what mine was. But his technique was harsh for me as a young kid and stuff. Dame's a very don't fuck with me, I'm fucking right kind of person. I felt like a little bit more pressure, and Jay-Z was a nice guy, and I also felt like I had that truth that Dame has in him. We the same. Me and Cam, me and Dame, we the same. They like to speak their minds, and they feel very justified in speaking their minds. Which, you know, I at least hope if Cam watches this and gets upset, he respects me for speaking my mind the same way that he does. But I wanted to learn this technique that Jay got of actually being likable. So Jay-Z know how to move in a room full of vultures. You know what I'm saying? As his little brother, I needed to learn that technique because I got something that God want me to give the world. And this right here I thought was pretty applicable. So he says, what I did with Yeezus is I took the power into my own hands. I wanted to remove the hits from it. I wanted to remove the chorus. Of course, Blood on the Leaves and Bound has got a chorus. You know, I like to resolve the album and let everybody know it's all good at the end of the day. Resolve the album because it's a narrative album. Listen to our podcast. But it's not all good. If you want to find out what he means about it's all good, but it's not all good at the end of Yeezus, listen to our podcast. Jerome's in the house. You know, Jerome represents that guy that looks at you and is like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Jerome represents a specific view of the world. Jerome being the pimp from Martin's show that is always macking. And here Kanye is trying to settle down with a woman. Jerome's not going to like that shit. And that's kind of the public pressure that Kanye feels in his life, that the public expects him to act a certain way and be a certain way and say certain things. And if Jerome were to hear what he was saying, this love stuff that like, we made it to Thanksgiving, maybe we could make it to Christmas, Jerome would be like, motherfucker, what are you talking about? Can't let him. Anyway, that's Yeezus. We can talk about Yeezus at another point. I always want to talk about Yeezus. Yeezus is so fucking good. Like I said, I'm from Chicago. People is dying every day, but it's not all good could also be referring to what he says next. And everybody think we got to do a benefit concert and help that out. But I need to be put in a position to be able to apply my thoughts. The same thoughts, you know, before I came in the game, rappers was killing each other. The thing is, we not each other's enemies. I'm showing us how we can work together. But in fashion or whatever, or product design, they try to marginalize us and we say we can only have an urban clothing line. It's one of the things, there's an interview Kanye did with Tim Westwood about graduation. And he talks about Stronger and the release of Stronger. And not even the release of it, but wanting to put it as a single. And the studio was just like, the label got movies on the brain. The label was like, black people don't like Daft Punk. And Kanye's response was like, how do you know? How do you know what black people like or don't like? You might think that they don't like Daft Punk, but how many of them just haven't heard Daft Punk to like Daft Punk? Because you motherfuckers think that black people only like these things and are only capable of liking these things, so you limit the exposure to what you want people to hear. But Kanye's thinking like, no, this is dope. It's music. People like music. It's not some racial thing that people don't like good music. It's no, just show them good music. And Stronger was a hit because of it. But this thing about when he came into the game, rappers was killing each other. That's the kind of background that Cam comes from. And that's the kind of pedigree he wants in others that he respects. And this is what he calls Kanye out for. That like, oh, you don't come from this background. You're not as tough as me. You're not as hard as me. You don't got the attitude that I have. You haven't done what I've done. You won't do what I'll do. And it's like, do you really want to be killing each other over like music rather than like getting paid, making money, having a good life? Like, you don't have to do that shit anymore. I don't know. So Cam's continued dissing of Kanye has been a recurring theme. I would almost wonder if it's the kind of thing that Dame only diss Kanye when no one else is fucking with him. Or Cam only disses Kanye when nobody else is fucking with Cam. There's some clever way to phrase that I'm obviously not clever enough to phrase. But the point being, I think Cam just likes taking shots at Kanye for clout in most cases. And that just his point of view on it is one that's very regressive and comes from a narrow frame of viewing the world. So that addresses that, some of the history between Kanye and Cameron, and overviews his current diss of Cameron. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see ya.